Listen, let this serve as your reminder not to throw away the bones from your rotisserie bag chickens, because you can definitely save them, save the bones, and use them to make bone broth. I am breaking down my second rotisserie chicken in just a moment, and I'm saving the bones so I can make bone broth. This is delicious as a base for anything you would need to use regular broth for, even to drink, because it's an excellent source of collagen and other important nutrients and minerals. Don't throw away your bones. You can use them for something else. Bone broth is definitely one of those situations where you use what you have on hand. So I'm gonna show you how to make it. First, set your oven to 425. Next, you're gonna line your baking sheet with parchment paper. I like to lightly spray mine with oil. You can use whatever you want. I just grab the coconut oil because it's the easiest thing to grab. All right. Now to that, you want to add your bone. Now I did leave some skin on, and that's okay. So I left the skin and some stuff on the carcass, but leave it like that, it's fine. Now at this point, again, use what you have. I have some celery that really needs to be used up because it is wilting. But in order to avoid wasting them, I'm going to use it in this. I wouldn't need it in like a salad or anything because it's too soft, but I can use it for this. I have a red onion and I have a yellow onion here. And I have a whole bag of carrots that my family's probably not going to eat. I may use like half of these. And I have a bulb of garlic that I'm going to put on my tray. You don't have to do this. I just like to cut off the ends of some of them. Some people also take the leaves off. Man, it depends on how I feel that day. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Right? I'm going to take my onion. Some people leave the skin on the onion. I don't like trying to fish it out later, so I don't, but you can leave the skin on if you want. Sometimes the skin gives it a nice color to the broth. I want the flavor of the onion. I don't particularly care to have the color. Great. I'm just gonna stick it on my tray wherever. This is a great way to use up vegetables too that like you wouldn't put in food that you're cooking regularly, but you also don't want to waste them. It's like this red onion has seen better days, but I can use it to make broth, so it doesn't go to waste. All right, I just stick that on the tray, whatever. I use a lot of garlic because I really like garlic. It's great for you too. This is my little trick to make peeling garlic easier. I put the bulbs in there. They're mostly ready to drop. All right, when you're done, your tray will look something like this. Now this is a lot on this tray, but I had a lot of scraps that I wanted to use up. So I'm gonna put this in the oven on 425 for about a minimum of 20 minutes. I've done up to 40. I feel like the longer you bake it, the more fragrant it becomes. The house is gonna smell delicious, but I'll be back when this is done roasting. One thing, I forgot to tell you to spray a little bit of oil on top. This has been in for like 35 minutes or so. And as you can see, the bones are nicely brown. Some of the veggies are really brown. So now we're gonna put it in our crock pot. Now you can do this multiple ways. I've done it on the stove and just let it cook for a couple hours and maybe an hour, some change. I've also done it in the crock pot. I use the crock pot most often because it doesn't require me to watch it. My recommendation is that you put it in the crock pot for as long as you can. I would say at least 8 hours on low, shorter if you're doing high, but the longer you leave it, the more flavorful your bone broth will become. And I believe, at least in my head, that the more nutrients you'll get from the actual bone. So I'm gonna transfer all of my ingredients from my sheet pan into my crock pot, add some water and some seasonings. Okay, so you're gonna need to fill this up with at minimum 4 cups of water. I actually like to add a little more, but this is 4 full cups. I'm probably gonna need to add another one of these because I like to have my water above where all of my stuff is. Right now the water is still kind of low. Now for me, that was 8 cups of water. If you want it thicker, use less water. If you want it to be kind of brothy, use a similar amount to me. I just cover up my liquid so everything's covered. You need to add a nice splash of apple cider vinegar to help the bones break down. You're not gonna taste it in the final product. All right, that's good enough. Now, this is the part where you can customize it to whatever you like, whatever you and your family enjoy, whatever you like, customize it as you want. I did not add any salt to this while I was cooking. So now is the time when I'm gonna add my salt, my pepper, and all the seasonings. I'm going to start with smoked paprika until you decide to stop. Okay, that gives us some color. I'm gonna add a little bit of turmeric to help with the color too, just a little bit. All right, that's good. All right, then I have my pepper, a decent amount. I'm using about that much. I'm using parsley, about that much. I'm using garlic powder. Told you I like garlic. I'm using onion powder. Nice amount. And salt. You do need a decent amount of salt because there's no added salt in here now. And you may still, believe it or not, find that you need to add more later. The nice thing about this too is if you find it's too salty, you can always just go back and add more water. So you're good. People will sometimes add ginger, oregano, Italian seasoning. Again, whatever you have, whatever makes you happy, whatever's gonna taste good, that you don't mind putting in all your other foods. Again, I use this in just about everything I cook, even if I'm cooking like vegetables or green beans. I freeze little pucks of it in my muffin pan, and I throw that little circle cube in when I'm cooking, and it helps to add flavor and nutrition to some of those other dishes. Again, you can put this on the stove and let it simmer for about 2 hours. I instead put this in my crock pot, and I'm gonna put this on low for the next at least 8 hours. I imagine I'm probably gonna cook mine closer to 12 because I just find that the longer you cook it, it gets really, really flavorful. Once this is done cooking, you need to allow it to cool down. Let it cool down to like room temp where it's just slightly warm. And then you need to strain it. So take a strainer, either a mesh strainer or sometimes people use a cheesecloth, whatever you have on hand. Strain out all the other stuff, all the vegetables, the leaves, all that stuff, strain it out so you get just a clear broth. Once you're finished straining it, you can take it, and if you're gonna use it that week, you can put it in little mason jars. I have the big ones. Put it in these mason jars, and I keep it in the fridge so that I can add it to my dishes throughout the week. But if I am not gonna use it right away, I go ahead and I put it in my muffin tin, and I pour little servings into each little muffin tin, and I freeze it. The reason I freeze it is because it makes little hockey pucks that I can put in my other food. I'll show you. This is an example of some that I made a while back. Not that long ago, it was like a month ago, but made this, and I went ahead and froze it in my muffin tin. Once it was frozen, I took it out, and this is what it looks like. And I literally just take this whole thing and throw it in whatever I'm cooking. And it makes it super easy to add flavor to whatever the dish is. It works really great in like vegetables, like string beans when you're cooking those. It works great in rice. Anything that you want to add a little extra boost of flavor to. I'm trying to avoid making a part 2 of this video. Just trust me when I tell you it's delicious. This was very easy to make. The longest part was waiting for it to roast in the oven. But use up some of the veggies and things that you have left in your fridge. The other thing that I do sometimes when I'm cutting up vegetables and I have some left over, or maybe there's something in the fridge that's going bad, I put it in the freezer. And I keep those vegetables in the freezer until I'm ready to make one of these. I actually have a bag that I could use to make some more, but I keep those vegetables in a bag frozen so that when I'm ready to do this, I have some vegetables already on hand that I can use. So that is a good way to save some money. Don't waste your food. use up some more of that $5 to $8 rotisserie chicken that you have, and reduce food waste in your home to help protect your grocery budget. If you make it, tell me down below. I'd love to hear all about it. All right, friend. Love you.